In this video, we will cover the topic of installing LabLINK on a ProLINK machine. Depending upon the type of installation you're doing, either a new installation, which has never communicated with LabLINK before, or a software upgrade, which has communicated with LabLINK before, there will be two different paths that we can take. Installing on a new machine will have a specific list of requirements. And to illustrate those, we will briefly look through the LabLINK installation guide document. This video is meant to accompany this document to help with some real-time display of what each step of the process looks like. So the requirements that are listed in the top of the table here that show install only, not upgrade, these are all required prior to installing our ProLINK applications, machine class scripts, and LabLINK class scripts. The bottom three items would be required if the ProLINK piece of equipment has communicated with LabLINK before and you're just upgrading software. Now it's important to know before we begin, we are going to need to know the machine number, the computer name, and then we need to have that machine set up inside of LabLINK with a proper machine key. Those are covered in some of our other demonstration videos, but we will quickly go through that here. Inside of our setup menu, first I'm going to look at machine types, and I may need to add a machine type. I do not. The demonstration machine that I'm going to set up is a 3900 NVH dyno, so we have a machine type that exists for this already. So next I'm going to create a machine by clicking the Create button here. I'm going to select the machine type. I'm going to place it in a laboratory. Now the machine number, I'm going to refer back to my C:\link folder. I'm going to see that my machine number is 6743. If I navigate to the config folder and then I open the machine INI file, that's going to provide me with the serial number as well. After opening the machine INI file, I see that the serial number is listed here. I'm going to copy and paste that in. Then I need to provide a computer name. Now in this case, I'm going to be using just my laptop. I won't be able to make a valid connection. I don't have a dynamometer connected here today. But I can show how to obtain this information. So if we right-click this PC and go to My Properties, we'll see the full computer name, which is gsmith.linkeng.local. So I need to put that information in as well. Then I can choose if I want to import suggested maintenance or if I want to allow this machine to upload test data files. So I'm going to select yes on both of those. I'm going to click Save. Now I've created a new machine called 3900 number 1. To get a machine key on the right hand side of the screen, I need to go to Technical Details and I want to click the Generate Key button. Generate a machine key for the following machine. Yes, Generate Key. Okay, so now I have a machine key that has been generated. So continuing on, we need to make sure that we have Google Chrome installed on the PC that we need to connect with LabLINK on this ProLINK machine. So if we do not have this installed already, we can do so by going to our installation folder. So inside of the LabLINK folder, we have Chrome standalone setup64.exe. So that will install Chrome for us. I already have it installed, so I don't need to do this right now. Our next step will be the LabLINK security certificate. So the LabLINK security certificate, this can be obtained from our file server. We will provide this. You want to copy the LabLINK certificate import folder to your desktop, extract that, and then there's a runme.bat inside that we can execute. So inside of our LabLINK certificate import folder, there's a runme.bat file. Now this is going to require administrative privileges to install, so I'll go ahead and provide those credentials. After doing so, I see that this message window is providing a successful message. Now from here, if we navigate to our LabLINK server, and your server name is going to be different than mine in this example, we want to make sure that we can load the LabLINK server without any warnings up top here that there are security certificate issues. So our next step would be to install the Visual C++ for Visual Studio 2013. And that file is located right here. Now in certain circumstances the 2015 file may be needed, but we would ask that you wait for guidance from our software team to do so. I already have Microsoft C++ installed, so I'm not going to do that again, but that is a necessary step. Okay, we also need to make sure that we have Microsoft Net Framework 4.5.2 or higher, and that is located right here. Again, this requires administrative privileges to install. And this does take a couple of moments to install itself. We'll see that this is almost complete here. So I received a message that this is already installed in the computer, so I'm going to close. Now proceeding on, now we want to make sure that we have all of our ProLINK applications closed, so things like Config Manager, DynoView, Script Edit, RepData Plus. We need to install applications. Okay, so I'm going to install our latest applications. At this time is 3.4.6, which is released. Okay, installation is complete. Our next step would be to move on to our machine class scripts. At this point, our latest version is 2.1.6. It's always a good idea to back up your software as you're performing these installation updates. In the essence of saving time, I am not showing that step. Okay, and the final piece of software that we need to install would be our LabLINK library scripts. Those are contained inside of the same folder here. And so I have this LabLINK library scripts version 4.21.exe. I'm going to go ahead and install this as well. Again, it would be a good idea to back up. I'm not going to do that in order to save time. Now that that is complete, we're ready to move on to making some changes to our machine INI file to set it up for LabLINK communication. Now the INI file can be edited in something like Notepad. I prefer to use Script Edit. Script Edit is in our C:\/linkeng applications folder. And I want to open our machine INI file, and that is located inside of C:\linkeng, the machine number, config, and then you'll find machine 6743.ini. And that's the file that I want to open. So to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to show the install guide on the left side of the screen, and then I'll show the INI file that I am modifying over on the right hand side of the screen. So we want to open up first, and then we want to navigate to the drivers section. So I'm going to do a Control F and then search for drivers. Now I need to add this following line, LabLINK equals paths CLRL proxy. So I'm going to put that down at the bottom here. Paste. Okay. Now the next step would be to find our managed DLL section. That does not exist, so we need to create one. So I'm going to copy and paste. And we need to add the following line. Okay, from here, inside of the LabLINK section, if we have one, so let's go ahead and search for that. Okay, Control L will take me to the next instance of LabLINK. So we do not have a LabLINK section, so we need to create one. I'm going to just copy and paste that from here. Okay, copy and paste in these lines as well. So here we need to put in our server. And in my case, for this demo, it is going to be, I'm going to have a different server name than you will. So make sure that you are speaking with the IT person and know the correct server path. Or machine, yeah, I'm sorry, yep, machine key. I'm going to go back to LabLINK. So I'm going to go to Setup and then Machines. I will select the 3900 number 1, go to Technical Details. This is the machine key here. Simply click this button and it copies it. And I'm going to paste this. And our machine number is 6743. Okay, moving on. Also inside of our LabLINK section, we want to paste in these 3 lines of code if we plan to upload data, machine test data, into LabLINK. So we have a upload data equals true statement, and then we have active rate limit and idle rate limit. And these are both in megabits per second. I'm going to choose 50 and 10 for this specific example. There are also a couple other lines of code that can be copied and pasted in for keeping an extra copy of the data in a separate file path, and then as well as saving a download log. Those are illustrated here and be placed in the same section inside of the machine INI file. Okay, our next step inside of the machine INI file would be to find our dyno data logger section. So again, I'll do a Control F, search for dyno data. Here's the dyno data logger section. Okay, then if this section exists, which it does, we need to remove or comment out the following line, database underscore DLL. So you'll notice that this has already been commented out for us, so there's nothing more that we need to do here. Okay, next we want to remove the event comment system. So we want to go to the drivers section. And we are looking for lab event equals paths. So this line right here. So we want to either remove or comment this out. So I can do a semicolon in front, which will turn it blue if we're operating inside of script edit. That will comment it out. Or I could simply delete it. Both would have the same effect. Commenting it out gives us an easy way in the future to turn it back on if we were to need to turn LabLINK off for some specific reason. Okay, and last but not least, inside of our machine INI file would be to, again, go to our dyno data logger section. And we want to look for a comment, or a line rather here, that says HCF equals, and a few lines down here we see this. So currently this is going to rely on the test header being taken care of at the machine directly. And if we wish to do this in LabLINK directly, again, we can remove this line or simply comment it out. I'm going to go ahead and comment it out. Now at this point, we are pretty much ready to save and close our machine INI file. So I'm going to save it as well as close it. I can close down script edit here. So we're now ready to start the ProLINK equipment. For my example here, I have a portable data acquisition system connected just to show the functionality. There are a host of different errors that If they are received, there are instructions here inside of the guide and how to correct those. Assuming that Config Manager loads without any errors, which is the case currently for the portable data acquisition that I have running, you want to go ahead and load DynoView. And when you load DynoView, you're going to see the LabLINK speed button sort of in the upper right hand corner here. If for some reason you do not see this speed button, you want to go to the Connect menu, you want to disconnect DynoView, and then reconnect DynoView. So once DynoView is running, we can click on the LabLINK speed button. As I click on this, this is going to bring up the LabLINK communication window. There's a lot of information on the right side of the screen that isn't really required unless we're trying to troubleshoot. What we really want to look for would be the LED indication status here. And as we're going to notice, it is bright green right now, meaning that we should be connected to LabLINK. This is the machine number of the data acquisition system that I'm using. So if I were to jump over to LabLINK and go to Lab Monitor, and if I were to look at current status of Link Europe vehicle testing, the machine that I want to look for is Link Europe in vehicle number 4. And you'll notice that this machine number matches. And it just reported an idle status about a minute ago. So if I were to change my downtime code to no staff, that should cause a change in my status that we see inside of LabLINK. So if I was to refresh this, now we're going to see that no longer is this machine considered on uptime, it is now on downtime. So now we know that we have a connection to LabLINK. This is the panel that the operator would use to specify specific downtime codes for your application. Now it's important to note, you want to make sure that the test name that you have specified on the machine matches a test request that you have built inside of LabLINK. So in my case, I created demo test 123 both as a test request inside of LabLINK and then at the machine. So really that's an important step, is you want to create a new test, one that matches LabLINK, before trying to do any of these diagnostics. Also worth mentioning that my LED right now is red, and that is because of the type of downtime code that I've selected. You'll notice as I select a different downtime code, it goes green. And really what we want to be able to see when we're looking at these for a real connection to LabLINK would be that we can see it show up in Lab Monitor and that the LED indication is bright. So if we saw a black LED or a very light red or a very light green, that would provide us some information that we probably have our server name, our computer name, something like that is probably not quite right and would be need to look at further. This concludes our video demonstration of LabLINK setup on a ProLINK machine.